Yo, what's good with y'all, man? Back with another video. So basically, I was reading my Bible yesterday, like I normally do, and I'm reading First Samuel right now, and it was talking about Saul, and if you guys don't know, Saul was Israel's first king, and that whole story of Israel having a king and wanting a king is something else that I want to talk about, but I'll say that for another video. But basically, Saul was a bad king. He was an unrighteous king. And eventually he got his kingship taken away from him. So I'm someone who I like to do exterior research. So I started looking up, on websites about why Saul was a bad king. Like, what were the traits that made him a bad king? Why did he fail? So I can try to avoid those things in my own life. And the consensus was he was proud, he was arrogant, he was self-reliant and stubborn. He thought that he's basically a narcissist, right? He thought that he was always right. He thought that he could do anything he wanted to do. He thought that he knew better than everybody who was trying to direct him. His mentor, Samuel, who's who the book is about, and even God himself. He would do things that went directly against God's will. So one quote that stuck out to me when I was reading First Samuel, and when he was reprimanding Saul, and eventually this was when he was actually removing the kingship from him, or predicting that he would lose his kingship. Was so Saul was being disobedient again, and Samuel was like, obedience is better than sacrifice, because Saul would do all these bad things, and then he would try to make altars and make sacrifices to the Lord. He would sacrifice animals, do whatever, give a burnt offering, things like that, to try to atone for it, to try to make up for it. And Samuel was trying to explain to him, like, bro, like, it's better to just listen the first time than do something and then try to make amends. Like, God would much rather you be obedient than to make sacrifices to atone for your sins, right? So I want to go over this verse with you. It's 1 Samuel 15. So we're gonna read it, and then I'll come back and provide a little bit more commentary and context and how I feel like it could be applied today. So let's get into it, man. Yo. Okay, so here we are in 1 Samuel 15. So let's just get right into it, man. And I would say just pay close attention to my highlights. I always like to highlight, important messages or things that I feel like apply to me or apply to situations in my life. And I would highly recommend that you guys do that as well. So, yeah, so Saul spares King Agag. Samuel also said to Saul, "The Lord sent me to anoint you king over his people, over Israel. Now, therefore, heed the voice of the words of the Lord. Thus says the Lord of hosts, I will punish Amalek for what he did to Israel, how he ambushed him on the way when he came up from Egypt. Now go and attack Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have, and do not spare them, but kill both man and woman, infant and nursing child, ox and sheep, camel and donkey." So first, let me just say something like, God always spins a block for us. Like, if you're one of our kids, or if we are one of his children, then vengeance is mine, I shall repay, right? Like, God always remembers who does wrong against us. And that's why, Jesus says things like, turn your other cheek. Like, it's basically like God is like, let me handle it, bro, because I can do something way worse than you can do. So just, keep your head up. If you got somebody who you felt like did you dirty, and, they out here living their best life, I promise you, God gonna spin a block on them. Don't trip. But continuing. So Saul gathered the people together and numbered them in Telaim, 200,000 foot soldiers and 10,000 men of Judah. And Saul came to a city of Amalek and lay in wait in the valley. Then Saul said to the Kenites, "Go depart, get down from among the Amalekites, lest I destroy you with them. For you showed kindness to all the children of Israel when you came up out of Egypt." So the Kenites departed from among the Amalekites. And Saul attacked the Amalekites from Havilah all the way to Shur, which is east of Egypt. All right, so listen, y'all. He also took Agag, king of the Amalekites. Let me restart. He also took Agag, king of the Amalekites, alive. and utterly destroy all the people with the edge of the sword. But Saul and the people spared Agag and the best of the sheep, the oxen, the fatlings, the lambs, and all that was good, and were unwilling to utterly destroy them. But everything despised and worthless, that they utterly destroyed. So we see right here, God said, destroy everything, leave nothing left. But it says that Saul and his people were unwilling to utterly destroy them, literally disobey God. So now we're getting into Saul rejected as king. Now the word of the Lord came to Samuel, saying, I greatly regret that I have set up Saul as king, for he has turned back from following me and has not performed my commandments. And it grieved Samuel, and he cried out to the Lord all night. So when Samuel rose early in the morning to meet Saul, it was told to Samuel, saying, Saul went to Carmel, and indeed he set up a monument for himself. And he has gone on around, passed by, and gone down to Gilgal. When Samuel went to Saul, and Saul said to him, Then Samuel went to Saul, and Saul said to him, Blessed are you of the Lord. I have performed the commandment of the Lord. But Samuel said, What then is this bleating of sheep in my ears, and the lowing of the oxen which I hear? And Saul said, They have brought them from the Amalekites. For the people spared the best of the sheep and the oxen, to sacrifice to the Lord your God, and the rest we have utterly destroyed. Then Samuel said, Be quiet, and I will tell you what the Lord said to me last night. And he said to him, Speak on. So Samuel said, When you were little in your own eyes, were you not head of the tribes of Israel? And did not the Lord anoint you king over Israel? Now the Lord has sent you on a mission and said, Go and utterly destroy the sinners, the Amalekites, and fight against them until they are consumed. Why then did you not obey the voice of the Lord? Why did you swoop down on the spoil and do evil in the sight of the Lord? And Saul said to Samuel, But I have obeyed the voice of the Lord, and gone on the mission on which the Lord sent me, and brought back Agag, king of Amalek. I have utterly destroyed the Amalekites. But the people took of the plunder, sheep and oxen, the best of the things which should have been utterly destroyed, to sacrifice to the Lord your God in Gilgal. So listen, so Samuel said, Has the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of the Lord? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to heed than the fat of rams. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Because you have rejected the word of the Lord, he has also rejected you from being king. Then Saul said to Samuel, I have sinned, for I have transgressed the commandment of the Lord and your words, because I feared the people and obeyed their voice. Now therefore please pardon my sin and return with me, that I may worship the Lord. But Samuel said to Saul, I will not return with you, for you have rejected the word of the Lord, and the Lord has rejected you from being king over Israel. And as Samuel turned around to go away, Saul seized the edge of his robe and tore it. So Samuel said to him, The Lord has torn the kingdom of Israel from you today, and has given it to a neighbor of yours, who is better than you. And also the strength of Israel will not lie nor relent, for he is not a man that he shall relent. Then he said, I have sinned, yet honor me now, please, before the elders of my people and before Israel, and return with me, that I may worship the Lord your God. So Samuel turned back after Saul, and Saul worshipped the Lord. Then Samuel said, Bring Agag, king of the Amalekites, here to me. So Agag came to him cautiously. And Agag said, Surely the bitterness of death is past. But Samuel said, As your sword has made women childless, so shall your mother be childless among women. And Samuel hacked Agag in pieces before the Lord in Gilgal. Samuel, a G. And he was an old man at this point, man. But anyway. Then Samuel went to Ramah, and Saul went up to his house at Gibeah of Saul. And Samuel went no more to see Saul until the day of his death. Nevertheless, Samuel mourned for Saul, and the Lord regretted that he had made Saul king over Israel. So, do you understand now, like, what it's trying to say? So let me go back and read the whole point of this one more time before we go back. So Samuel said, Has the Lord as great a delight Has the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of the Lord? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to heed than the fat of rams. For rebellion is the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Because you have rejected the word of the Lord, he has also rejected you from being king. All right, so we finna talk about this a little bit more, and yeah, let's get into it. Yo, what's good with y'all, man? We back. So that verse really stuck out to me. So first of all, you can see how even so after when Samuel had told him, right, he was like, you didn't listen, like, why did you do that? And so Saul, like I said, he's always trying to justify everything. He always thinks that he's right. And I'm sure we've all met people, you know, whether they be in our family, our friends, they'll do something and they just can never see their wrongdoing in it. They never think that they're wrong. They always have an excuse. They always have an alibi. They're always like, oh, well, I did it because of this. And I thought, keyword I. Everything is about I. Everything is about me, them, right? Like, they're selfish. They're narcissists. Saul is a narcissist. That is his problem. That is his fatal flaw. He thinks that he knows better than everybody. He thinks that so God says do this. He's like, oh, well, I'm gonna do this, and I think that God will like it better. Like, no, bro, I'm telling you what I like. Just do what I said. So I think a good way to analogize it, right, would be like, so if you have a girlfriend, right? So if you tell your girlfriend, hey, I don't want you to have any, boy best friends, to go be seeing any other dudes. I don't want you to be posting anything promiscuous, on social media. And I don't want you, to cheat on me, right? So then your girl goes around and directly disobeys you. She does exactly what you told her not to do. She posting, bikini pics and thirst traps on Instagram and TikTok, and she got a boy best friend, and she's, got a sneaky link, and then she comes back to you and she's like, here, I got you some shoes, I got you, a video game, or I got you some flowers to make up for it. Bro, you're gonna be like, I would have rather you just listen to me. I would have rather you be obedient than to give up sacrifices, to give me sacrifices and to give me gifts than to make up for it. Does that make sense? Like, that is the mindset that God has. So you have to think about it like that. You have to put yourself in God's shoes, and to understand why these things are wrong. Like, if you tell someone, because everybody is very self-centered. I'm self-centered, so we all are. It's okay. But if you tell someone, if you tell your kids, if you tell your girlfriend, your husband, your wife, whatever, to do something, and they don't do it, they directly disobey you, and then they come back and try to give you a gift to make up for it. Like, no, that's not as good as if you would have just listened the first time. Like, it's not good enough. And that's why he got the kingship taken away from him. So also, another example of obedience versus sacrifice. So a lot of people who go to church, right? And there are a lot of people like this in my family where they'll go to church, but then they'll be living unrighteous, wicked lifestyles. And they feel like, oh, well, all I got to do is go to church, sacrifice my time, give a little bit of money and a tithe bucket, and I'm good. Like, no, bro, you're not good. Like, you should just be trying your best to live a righteous lifestyle, bro. None of us are perfect. None of us are perfect. We're all going to fall. We're all going to make mistakes. But like I said, a lot of people treat church and, giving offerings like that as like a sacrifice. It's like a cleansing period. Like, they go to church on Sunday. They're like, hey, God, I'm sorry. Let me make up for it. Let me go to church. Let me praise you. Read my Bible today. Put a little bit of money in the basket. And then Monday through Saturday, they out living their best life. City boy, city girl, right? No, that's not good enough. And like, I still struggle, with obedience, and it's something that I'm working on, but like I said, at least with me and hopefully with you guys, we're self-aware. We understand what we're doing wrong and how we can do better. Like you saw with Saul, there was no, until something terrible happened. But even when he at first found out, he was like, oh, well, I did it because of this. He's always making excuses. He's always acting like he knows best. So don't do that. Don't be an over-righteous person. Don't be a self-righteous person. Don't be a self-reliant person. Because if you rely on yourself, you're gonna fail, bro. You're gonna be depressed. You're gonna go crazy. You're gonna lose your mind because you can't really do anything. None of us can do anything. Everything is by the grace of God. God could take your breath away tonight. You could never wake up. You could walk outside, get hit by a car. You could lose your sight. You can go blind. You could lose your ability to talk. You know, that's happened to people in my family before. So you should really do your best, you know. I'm talking to me too. You know, I make a lot of these videos. All of these videos really are for me. And, you know, hopefully you guys can get some inspiration and some good messages from them. But yeah, anyway, hopefully you guys like that. It really stuck out to me that obedience is better than sacrifice. And I am going to try my best to be more obedient. So yeah, I'll see y'all soon, man. Bye, Chance.